guys, and welcome to week 4 of Unit 2, where we are going to start solving inequalities. We're going to begin with 1- and 2-step inequalities this week. Next week, you'll be moving on to multi-step inequalities. Obviously, that builds, so it'll be super important that you are comfortable with this week's lesson before moving on to next week. After that is your summative for Unit 2, so you have almost made it to the end of a second unit. So make sure that you're really paying attention to all of the teaching material included in the learning path, and that you are taking advantage of all of the practice opportunities so that you are preparing yourself for your second summative. I'm going to start with looking at the learning path for this week and telling you that there are 7 lessons to complete. Some of these are longer than others, so as we go through these, you'll see, and that might help you pace out your week when you see what all has to be done for each one. And you'll notice that some are a little bit shorter than others. There is a help session on Tuesday at 11:30, so this will be linked for you to call in. If you do call in, which I encourage everyone to call in, if you do call in, then this Google Jamboard is something that we're going to use, and you can click here and it will prompt you to make a copy, and we will be going over that together. And then again, here are learning targets for the week. Solve and graph 1- and 2-step inequalities, understand the solution set of an inequality, and then translate between written and numerical inequality statements. Okay, so that is our week at a glance. So your first task, you'll notice the first task, lesson 1, is just one activity. Okay, it is to show what you know from the previous week in a Flipgrid. Okay, so as you know, last week you worked on solving equations all the way 1-step, 2-step, and multi-step. So you will see a problem on this Flipgrid, and your directions will be to show your steps and solve that and submit that to me in a Flipgrid. So I want to see what you learned last week and how you can explain it to others. So you'll see detailed directions within the Flipgrid. It says this is a formative, so make sure you are taking your time. All right, so that's it for lesson 1. So you probably could do lesson 1 and lesson 2 in one math class period. Okay? All right, so on to lesson 2, and this is really diving into our inequalities lesson. So there are 3 videos for you to watch. The first one is a basic overview of writing and graphing inequalities. So this is kind of your foundation. The second one is super quick, but it's important because it goes over vocabulary related to inequalities. As I mentioned, one of your learning targets is to be able to translate and write expressions using inequality symbols, or equations using inequality symbols, and it's important that you can recognize these words. And some of these are going to be words that you haven't used as much before. So make sure that you are paying attention to that. And then I urge you on the third one to watch it and possibly rewatch it, because this is the most common mistake made by students. The whole concept of flipping the inequality symbol. Okay? So every year teaching, this is our biggest problem with mistakes. So make sure that you're paying attention to that, taking notes on that, and then you're going to be able to apply it in some activities. There's a quick poll for you to take. There is a quizzes practice. There's your code. And then there is a breakout. So there's a PowerPoint link that has some problems. And you will do the first 10 will be related to breaking out of this first breakout. And then the second set of 10 questions will be related to breakout 2. Now, again, all of this page is 1-step inequalities. So this may look like a lot, but it is 1-step inequalities. It is a review from 6th grade. You should be able to do that without any problems at all. But if you do, make sure you're, again, calling into the help session or emailing me. Okay? All right, let's move on to lesson 3. Lesson 3 is a quick checkpoint. There are a few problems. I've got a couple of checkpoints in here, so I don't quite remember how many. I think there are 10. This should not take you very long. But this is a formative, And it does tell you that if you make less than 80%, you should go back to lesson 1, okay? Because the next lesson we're going to be moving on to two-step inequalities. So if in this formative on 1 step you make less than an 80, that might show that you're not quite ready to move on to 2-step, and you might need to go back to lesson 1 and really focus on the lessons, the teaching, and some of the practice opportunities there, okay? All right, the next task we're going to, lesson 4, we're going to be looking at two-step inequalities. For two-step inequalities, we are going to have a couple of video lessons that you need to watch. Solving, showing how you should show your work and all of that, keeping your work organized as we move from 2-step, and then next week multi-step. Keeping your work organized is very important. And then also, again, reinforcing that concept of flipping the inequality symbol. Your practice for 2-step inequalities is in Delta Math. Okay, so you're going to click here to go to Delta Math, and then it reminds you that you should have used your school username and password to create your Delta Math account. Okay, it's been a while since we used that, but we did use that in Unit 1. So again, when you set it up, you were instructed to use your school username and password, so you should be able to get in. And the title of your assignment is Inequalities, so it is given to you there. In addition, you're going to go to Pearson Online, and here are your directions, and you are going to be completing the Unit 2, Week 4, two-step inequalities. So your assignment is called Unit 2, Week 4, two-step inequalities. All right. Moving along, then we have a matching activity. So this is literally one question, but it will have several inequalities that you need to solve, and you are going to match the inequalities that have the same solution. Okay? So that is a little bit more practice on two-step inequalities. And then finally, you have a formative. So if you are not quite ready to take this, if you feel like you still are needing a little bit more, you'll notice that it says click here to view a PowerPoint that has step-by-step directions and opportunities for you to practice and check your work. So go here and go through the PowerPoint if you feel like you're needing a little bit more time and a little bit more practice before taking your formative, okay? So that's a really good resource of review. All right, that is it for your inequalities. All of this work is due by 4 o'clock on Friday, just as it always is. Please make sure that you are following deadlines and getting work turned in on time, okay? I have had way too many emails and late work submissions this week. You need to use this video to pace your work, set aside time at home to get this work done, just as if you were in class at school. So the expectation is that this is completed by 4 o'clock on Friday, okay? There is one more assignment that is your assessments, okay? And this activity, I told you last week you didn't have a new one, so this week you get a new one, and it is assignment number 3, okay? So here are directions for you to follow to linked here that you can follow those directions. You are going to the same exact place that you did 1 and 2, so hopefully this third one is going to be easier for you. Within this link also, if you need help, the email address that you can use to email help is there. I would urge you, if you are emailing, to please make sure that you tell your name, make sure that you are telling your school and your teacher's name, okay? So that you are she's able to help you a little bit better, okay? She's managing all 7th grade students in Forsyth County, so she gets a lot of emails. So it would help her if you give your name, your teacher's name, your school, and then please make sure that you are telling her thank you for giving you any support or help that she is providing to you, okay? So using good email etiquette there when you do reach out to Mrs. Booker. Okay, the due date for this is Friday, October 30th. You have 2 weeks. Every time an assessment is assigned, you have 2 weeks to complete that. So next Friday, that's due. So if you don't get to that this week, that's okay. You can finish it next week. Okay, I hope you have a wonderful week. Again, I urge you to pace your work, plan out your week so that you can get everything accomplished next week. And I look forward to talking with you on Tuesday at our help session. Bye.